Welcome back, gamers. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that continuously gets brought up every season because Bungie just, I don't know, doesn't want to fix it. And we're talking about Ascendant alloys, an endgame material in the game that is required to level up and enhance your crafted weapons at the Enclave to get better perks. Something like Target Lock, for example, where it actually matters. And this material in the game is pretty scarce and not a whole lot of sources are out there to get it from. So today we're going to be talking about where you can get it, how you can farm it, and which is the most efficient method to farm these. Now, I do want to put this at the beginning of the video just because this is going to come out during the event, so it should be the first thing that I mention. The Festival of Lost event, if you're doing it and you're getting Eerie engrams, you can get an Ascendant alloy from these engrams. Some people don't know this, so I thought I would mention it ahead of time before you just blow all your engrams on the weapon engram instead of the regular one. Now, I will say the drop rate for this is it's terrible. It's just terrible. It's probably like a 5% drop rate, if that. So don't expect getting a whole ton of these in here, but if you're chasing mementos, you can get them here. Next, let's talk about freebies, and by freebies I mean the 2 tower methods where you can get these regularly but not instantly. So one of them is buying it at Rahul for 400 shards on a weekly basis. You can get 1 per week, and given that shards are going away soon and they're just going to be non-existent in final shape, you might as well start dumping your shards into these if you were saving your shards for whatever reason. Now, the other reward track is going to be at Banshee. At the end, towards here on rank 16, you will get an Ascendant alloy from him on every single reset you do on him, so it's not seasonal where you get 1 reset and then it's gone forever, like from seasonal activities. You can keep doing this as much as you want and farm it, quote-unquote, by just doing his bounties each day on each character, which is 4 times 3, so 12 bounties per day. Now, that may sound like it's a huge time investment, but it's really not. You can just simply go load either a Shiro Chi checkpoint for the week, or go to something like the Grass of Aris opening where you don't even need a checkpoint, you just load it in. Now, the quick thing to do for this would be to just have 1 of every weapon, whether it's in your vault, your inventory, or if you're lazy as hell like me, you can just pull out our collections. So, for example, if I go to my collections and let's say I need auto rifle kills, I'll just pull out Origin Story, and then just get the kills with that, and then, you know, you can dismantle it afterwards if you'd like. And that's how you can just easily do that. This method also takes about a week if you just do his bounties daily. Now, we'll note that also just getting weapons or gear and dismantling them also progresses the Banshee rank. So you might get a little faster than a week, or if you don't play regularly daily, then you might take a little bit longer than a week. But essentially, it's free. You're just picking up tower bounties and taking like 10 minutes to do them, so it's not that bad. Next up is seasonal content. Now, the problem theme for all of these this year, by the way, is you don't even know that you can get an alloy from these. You see Salvage Legend here? It says nothing about an alloy, but you can get one at the end. You see Deep Dive here? It says nothing about getting an alloy, but you can get one at the end when you do tier 7s, although I wouldn't recommend it. You can get exotic gear, but they don't tell you about the alloy. Seventh Inspire just says nothing. It says pinnacle gear, and that's it. But you can do Sabbath Inspire on Legend, and again, there is a chance to get an alloy. Okay, now that I've told you that you can get an alloy from these, would I do these activities to farm alloys from? Absolutely not. Now, the reason for that is kind of twofold. First off, if you're doing something like Tier 7 Deep Dive, the enemies are going to be brutal and annoying, and the activity is probably going to take you somewhere like 20 minutes, 25 minutes on average, if you're, you know, pickup group, LFG, whatever. And that's a huge time investment to maybe get an alloy. Now, you could do something like Sabbath Inspire on Legend because there's triumphs this season to get done in there, and you can kind of do a 2-for-1, at least for a little while. But would I farm these out for like a long extended period of time? Absolutely not, and the reason for that is because there's much better activities to get them from, which we're going to be talking about next. Next up are the story missions. Now, specifically, we're talking about the Witch Queen campaign. In these missions, you can get alloys, as you can see on screen here. You can get them from Hero, Legend, and Master, but outright, I'm going to tell you, do not waste your time on Hero or Legend. The drop rate is just abysmal. Even though it says uncommon, it's really not worth your time. Now, while Master is worth running and farming, I want to note that only 2 of the missions on the roster are actually worth investing your time in. The rest are similar to the other activities that I mentioned, where it'll take you 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes per run, and that's just not worth the investment if you're trying to farm in the long term. So, the 2 missions that are worth farming are the Ghost mission, which is by far the best available. If you have a competent team, you can get this done anywhere from like 7 to 10 minutes per run, which is very reasonable. And the other one, if you're not in the rotation for Ghosts, would be the Last Chance, the one where you climb 7th Spire and fight a bunch of the Elusive Hive. That one can be done in about 12 minutes per run, which again isn't that bad, and in comparison to 20-25 minutes is much better for farming. Finally, we have the best farm in the game for Ascendant alloys, and it's both a good thing but also frustrating. The activity is the Wellspring. Wellspring launched in the Witch Queen campaign and has ever since been the best farm for alloys pretty much the entire time as soon as they buffed drop rates for alloys way back in the day. The reason why this is good is because you can do the Wellspring Defend in about 7 to 8 minutes per run and the Wellspring Attack in about 10 to 12 minutes per run. Now, the good thing about this as well on top of the time is you can completely turn your brain off and go in there and do generic things and get the job done pretty quickly without worrying about getting a stacked team or anything like that. Also, small trivia here, at Wellspring, you can actually get 2 Ascendant alloys to drop at the end. It's not guaranteed, but it can happen, as opposed to like a story mission where the highest you will ever get is 1 at a time. Now, the positives to this are great. It's fine to turn your brain off and just run this and get your alloys done, and then you're good to go. But the negatives to this are, 1, you need 6 people for this, or maybe 5 if you want to carry a little bit. But the more jarring thing is that the activity is 2 years old, which means there's probably not going to be a whole ton of people running this unless you find dedicated people who are also farming for alloys specifically. Now, yeah, the glaive patterns do exist in this, but 1, the glaive patterns currently suck, and 2, most people who care about them have probably already gotten them by this point. Now, with that being said, it is still by far the best farm in the game. The only even small comparable to this is Ghosts, but again, Ghosts, I feel like you actually have to pay attention, whereas in Wellspring, you can just turn your brain off to the point where I typically either just talk to chat while doing this the entire time on stream, or if I'm not streaming, I'll probably be watching a YouTube video or like a movie in the background while farming these, because I have to put in very little effort to actually get it done. Now, with that said, and hopefully some people learned something today about what to do to get alloys, I do want to bring up one more thing, and I'm curious what people want to say as well on the topic, and that is, why are these the options that are available to us, and why are there not more options, and more importantly, more endgame options, because this is supposed to be an endgame material? So, let's talk about it. But before that, Snake from the future here. Hi, if you're enjoying the video, or this has helped you, consider maybe subscribing today, or maybe liking/commenting on the video to help the channel grow. It is much appreciated, and does help with the YouTube algorithm. If you can't think of a comment to write, just put Ascendant Alloy in the comment section. Alright, back to the video. So I'll get straight to the point here. Bungie, I think we can all agree, treats Ascendant Alloys as a high-tier endgame material reward used to enhance crafted weapons to make them more powerful, blah blah blah. But the point is, they're super scarce because they are considered an endgame material. With that said, why is it that the only quote-unquote endgame activity that we can get them from currently in the game are 2-year-old activities and things that people don't actually viably farm for the loot? What I'm talking about specifically here is dungeons and raids, and also GMs, but we'll get to that in a second. Dungeons and raids have master variants, and dungeons and raids have Ascendant shards dropping from them on a chance basis. Why is it that Ascendant alloys can't do the exact same thing in these endgame aspirational activities? So as for GMs, as most of you already know, we have double loot weeks in GMs where you get double rewards. This includes Ascendant shards, which means you can get up to 4 shards per run, and next thing you know, they rain like candy and bam, you're maxed out on Ascendant shards. Now, keep in mind that Ascendant shards are also supposed to be considered endgame material here. First question is, why are alloys not part of these activities when they're the exact same tier of reward as shards? Second question here is, why not do the bare minimum band-aid fix where you can have a shard system and an alloy system rotate on a weekly basis? For example, let's say week 1, you have Shadow Throne for the dungeon, then Last Wish for the raid, and Lightblade for the GM. This week, you get Ascendant shards dropping in the activities. Now, you go to week 2, it's going to rotate to Mars Battleground, and it'll be alloys there. And then for the raid, let's say it's Deepstone Crypt, and then the dungeon is Pit of Heresy, and it'll be Ascendant alloys in there as well. So now you go shard, alloy, shard, alloy, shard, alloy. It's a simple solution where, hey, maybe I need some shards, I'll do the activities this week. If I don't need them, I'll wait for the next week to do alloys. Finally, one last easy layup thing for the community, and I'm sure everybody would love it, and that is a conversion system. That's it. Just go to Banshee, let's say, and you're like, hey Banshee, can I convert my 10 Ascendant shards for 1 Ascendant alloy, or 10 alloys for 1 shard, even though nobody's gonna do that second one, but let's pretend. And then Banshee would be like,
who are you talking to?
What are you talking about? Because he can't remember a damn thing. But anyway, a conversion system where I'm sure most people would love it, even if it's not a good rate, just to dump their shards that they may not even need to turn it even to one alloy that they will need, and everybody will be happy. Anyway, that's all I have for the video. Hopefully my rambling was at least a little bit informative there. Hopefully you guys agree. Maybe you disagree. Leave it in the comments below. And while you're there, maybe leave a like and subscribe today. It does help the channel and is much appreciated to fight the silly algorithm. And if you don't know what to comment, just leave Ascendant alloy in the bottom below. Other than that, hopefully you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.